into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Nothing's fine, I'm told.
Oh, yes, feel it. We should just hold hands.
This is for Tiana.
It's for Tiana.
Because Tiana's torn.
She's so torn.
Tiana's so torn.
She's so torn.
Poor girl.
Oh, my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, we want to welcome you to the one and only Catfish After Show. Yes, we had a break in the season. This is season 4, but it is back with a vengeance. I'm so excited to be here. I got my boy Jeff Thurm, but first, before we do that, we want to make sure that you subscribe. Go to youtube.com/AfterBuzz TV. You can also follow us on YouTube and on SoundCloud. And if you want to live tweet, you can use the hashtag ABTV Catfish. I am your host, Lim Gonsalves, and you can find me at The Poet Saint on Twitter, Instagram, and all those social medias. Like I said, I got my boy next to me, Mr. Jeff Thurm. Jeff, what's up, man?
What's going on, Lem? Good to be back with you, dude.
Yes.
It's been a bit.
Tell the people about yourself, man.
So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jeff_Thurm. Definitely tweeted us. We definitely want to know what you guys are thinking. Leave comments on YouTube. Tweet using the hashtag so we can know your guys' thoughts. We're going to hopefully have a computer next time so we can chat with you guys live. So if you are tuning in live, definitely let us know what you guys are thinking. We love to hear your thoughts. We love to connect with you guys. So
absolutely,
hit us up.
Yeah.
Hit us up.
Yeah, back with my boy Jeff. Did his first show together with Hell's Kitchen. So yeah, we back in the saddle. So again, this is Catfish, first episode back on season 4. Tiana
and James.
Yes. Let's talk about her. So as we know, just so we can kind of give a brief, summary about what goes on. Obviously, people follow the show, they watch the show, but these are people that reach out to our buddies Nev and Max because they are, trying to find out what's going on with their relationship that they're in. They're usually having trouble to get to know the person or find the person. Usually it's hard to meet up with them. They're usually, internet chatting or phone chatting. And that's usually what's going on. In this case, this is young lady Tiana that is from North Carolina. And she hits up, Nev and Max because there's a guy named James who also lives in North Carolina, which red flag because they're in the same state. And they basically have only spoken on the phone for approximately 3 years. And the kicker for me was that they met on MySpace.
They met on MySpace 3 years ago. So they met on MySpace in 2012.
And they had to be the last people on MySpace.
No one's using MySpace anymore. So the fact that they met there, definitely red flag.
Yes.
They met 3 years ago, like we just said, right after she had a baby at 18. And she was raised in North Carolina, but moved to Washington.
Correct.
They were talking for 3 years, and she decided that she was going to move back to North Carolina to be closer to him.
Correct.
So that they could potentially meet up. So she's moving all the way across the country, not knowing anything about this guy other than his voice.
Told her. Yeah, what he's told her over the phone.
And his video chat is broken. And when she does get to North Carolina, she's there for 5 months, and they tried a few times to meet up.
Right.
But
to no avail.
What I feel bad about is that she said that this is her first love. She is madly in love with this dude.
Yes.
Moves across the country in the same state, and nothing for 5 months.
And you gotta look at it as, and this is the thing, I've seen this show, I've been following the show since, it first opened, first aired. And I try to reach out, my heart goes out to these people. But after a while you see a pattern, correct?
Yeah.
And it's like, you see that you're talking to some person online, and with social media and everything now, with Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you have Periscope, you have all of these different devices, internet phones. I mean, there's so many different ways to contact somebody, get a hold of somebody, to chat with somebody. You have Skype. I mean, there's so many different avenues, and the fact that you can't get a hold of someone and to talk to them in person or see their face,
Sketchy.
that has to be a red flag.
Sketchy.
I mean, like, number one. And then the fact that they live in the same state, and we found out later in the episode when they went to actually meet the person who said he was James, they were 10 minutes away from each other, from where he worked.
I mean, so I use online dating. If I'm matching with you on Tinder, meeting on you, whatever, if you only have one picture, I'm looking you up. You know, I know that Google image search exists. This show is a very well-known show. Google image search is a very obvious thing.
Yes.
So if you only have one picture, first of all, that's a red flag. If you have multiple pictures and you're far away, red flag. I'm finding out your Instagram. I will find you on Facebook. I will search for you if I don't think that you're a real person. So the fact that all these people in 2015, knowing A, about the show, but B, about like all the things that like the social media that exists, like if you're not getting a clear picture for who a person is, like maybe it does take some time for someone to meet up with you in person. Sure. Especially if you live across the country. But if you're getting only 3 or 4 pictures of a person, it bothers me so much. And we're gonna probably have this conversation multiple times throughout the season,
probably every time.
But it bothers me so much that these people, like that they are able to believe in these people and not have any red flags.
Well, we were talking about this a little bit about the show before the show we started airing, and my take, and we talked about these are younger people that they usually spotlight. They fall, like in this case, and this is a prime example. This is her first love, right? And she is in love with this person. And I think a lot of times once you fall in love with someone, you tend to be blinded to the other things that are around you.
Guilty.
You see what I'm saying? And I've been guilty of it too. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a young person, but I was younger once. And in my younger days, there were times that if I really liked a girl, I would see a lot of red flags, but I would just kind of push it by the wayside because, oh man, she looks good. Or, oh man, she's got a nice, you know what I'm saying, smile. Or, like all of these things. So I can understand how somebody, especially in a case like with this, she's not with the baby's father. She also has her own father is not in the picture, as we've been told. And so there's a lot of that. So she's clinging to whoever is going to give her attention. And this person, even though he's not willing to visit her or see her right away, they still talk on the phone. They've built a relationship. And I believe that you can definitely do that. Yeah. You can build a relationship over the phone. And that's what they've done. He makes her laugh, all of these different things. When she's down, she's a feisty person. She gets angry at times.
She said she hasn't kept a single friend.
Exactly. And he's able to calm her down. Yeah. So he fills a void in her life. And I get it. But at the same time, you have to do your due diligence. Yeah. You have to.
Well, I think it's so easy. You have to take a psychological step and look into the fact that she's from a broken home. Her father wasn't there. She lived with her grandma, and her sister had to grow up in foster care. Sure. That cannot be easy. That is going to mess with you. Like it or not, that is going to mess with you and your needs and your attention and everything. That's just going to mess with you for the rest of your life. Absolutely. And if you don't handle that properly, like, it's just only going to get unhealthier. People cope in different ways. Sure. So she's from a broken home. She's never had anything steady, it doesn't seem. She has a kid at 18. That, again, is going to be tough. That dad's not in the picture. So now she is an adult basically on her own, has been on her own, has had to live this life that I can't even imagine. Right. A man's giving you attention, someone's giving you attention, someone's giving you love, you're going to fall for it. Absolutely. You're going to fall back in love. Right. Absolutely. My last relationship was...
Tell us about it, Jeff.
Well, sorry to get... It's going to get real for a second, but when my father was passing away, my dad was dying of cancer, I was the neediest I've ever been. And at the time, I hadn't realized it had anything to do with that. But looking back, I think back on how crazy I got because I needed someone to be there for me. Right. So I can't even imagine what she was going through needing someone. So it's so easy to ignore the red flags, ignore the bad things when you just need someone to fill that spot. Right. No,
absolutely. Absolutely.
But
And
Yeah.
and again, I sympathize, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? That's why this show exists.
Right.
Because there are people that end up in that situation, and what do? They reach out to Nev and Max for help.
Yeah.
So in this particular episode, just like in every episode, you know, they reach out, Nev and Max go to her, they talk to her, they find out these different things that we just mentioned, you know, to why she's, you know, in this situation. They hear from James, they hear a message, voicemail that he left, all of these different things. And so what do? They go and they start doing their research.
I laugh at the simplicity of the research. Sure. I mean, at first, you know, first season in the documentary, it's like, whoa, they're rocket scientists.
Right.
Like they have figured out, they have this special like application that must cost millions of dollars that they created in order to find these people. And now it's like, go on Facebook, go on Google, go on YouTube. It's like anyone can fucking do this from home. Right. It's not rocket science. No. But yeah, so they do their research. We find out some pretty interesting things.
They do search on, you know, the image search, which is normally their go-to first.
My go-to as well.
Yeah, right, absolutely. And so they go to that and they look up, you know, the picture that's been sent. They find out it belongs to a person by the name of Tipsy Twist.
Classified, a.k.a. Tipsy Twist.
Correct. Who is, it looks like a local rapper or hip-hop artist that's there. And all the pictures, basically, that she gave them matched precisely with him. And what they also do is find a video with this particular person talking. And so they're like, oh, this is going to be information that we can show her to see if it matches the voice, you know, all of that.
But then, of course, it raises the red flag.
Sure.
If his camera has been broken for this whole time, how does he have a video?
Exactly. Which has happened before in previous episodes.
Of course.
Again,
so
red flag.
At this point, I'm positive this guy isn't real.
Right.
So at the beginning, you know, you want to hope for her. But at this point, once they find this, it's, okay, this guy is definitely not real. She's definitely being catfished. But who is it?
Well, for me, I mean, once I heard that they were close, like in proximity, and they hadn't seen each other, I felt like he was already lying. My thing is, I was just waiting for how big was the lie.
Right.
That's how I viewed it. Because if you look at the show, and like I said, I've been watching the show since they first started. It's like the ratio of people that do not turn out to be who they are and people that actually are the person that they are is a big strain. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about like 10% say who they are and 90%. So usually it's leaned towards, you know, that other person, that 90%. So in this case, I was just like, okay, well, who is he going to be?
Right.
Because he's definitely not that person.
Right.
They also looked up Facebook and they checked the name that was given to them, and they, lo and behold, they do find someone. And the reason why it comes up as another red flag, because I guess when they were on MySpace, he used a graphic as his profile pic.
Cartoon picture.
Exactly. And in this case, there was another cartoon picture as the profile.
And it was in North Carolina.
Right.
And he was a mechanic.
And so,
I mean...
Yeah, right, the odds. And
crazy.
then they pull up the picture, and interestingly enough, they see this guy.
creepy-ass old white dude.
Right. Looks like he was maybe 50.
And I think my favorite line of probably ever in this show, when he was like, "This is exactly who you do not want it to be."
Right.
Or they're like, "This is the perfect image of who you expect it shouldn't be," or like something. It was like,
like if it was a direct definition of who do you not want it to be? What it would picture?
Like literally,
and it would just be that picture.
Exactly.
Yeah, please do not be this person. So again, they didn't know for sure if that was him. They were going to obviously do some more research.
From a production standpoint, I need to know how. Your picture can't be shown on TV without
permission.
Correct. So while I assume that this guy isn't the real Brandon James or whatever. Sorry, Brandon James is from Scream. Sorry. Somewhat, whatever his name was, James.
Yes. James Sloan or something like that.
Sloan?
Yeah, James Sloan.
Who is this guy that they signed off to use his fake pictures as the creepy old motherfucker?
No, well, like you said, and you work in production, so they had to have sign off, but they got permission, so... I mean,
he's probably just happy to be on TV.
Maybe. Like, hey, look at me. All right. Awesome. So they go ahead and they talk to Tiana about doing their, amazing research.
Yeah.
And of course she's upset because now it's all coming ahead. She sees that it's like, okay, this is not the person,
Right.
you know. And when
You
they
see
show
it
the
on her
person,
face.
you see it on her face.
She's in shock.
And again, this show is very categorized in the sense that a lot of these same things happen. They go do their research, they tell them what they find out. Usually the person is distraught or sad or mad, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because of the situation, because of what they find out, because usually it's something that they don't want to hear.
Right.
And a lot of times they are leery. And they know something's up, which is why they,
Right.
hit them up in the first place. But to then know, like, the facts are right there, it becomes difficult.
Right.
Especially if you care about this person. And
Totally.
You fall in love with this person, you fall in love with the image. All of those things go wrong.
You can't help but feel dumb.
Exactly.
You can't help but feel mad. You're angry. You're heartbroken. It's so many emotions at once.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So Nev goes and he attempts to call James. And gets him on the phone. And
gets him on the phone so easily, by the way.
Well, we don't know how long it took. Again, this is edited, so it could have been. I don't know. But he does get a hold of him. He talks to him. Of course, it sounds like he's, James is using the excuse of, I'm busy. What he wants. All this kind of stuff. And Nev is just like, hey. I don't want to waste a lot of your time. This girl wants to meet you. Can you meet her tomorrow? And that's how we're doing it. So what's the deal? And he basically is like, okay. Yeah, I don't want to hurt her anymore. And I think, it's interesting. I want to ask you a question. When the other person, the person that is doing the catfish, if I can use that term, when they kind of come to that point, do you think they just are tired of the lies? Because it does seem like, and in watching the show, not always it's easy to get them to commit, but it seems like they pretty much are like throwing in the towel, like, okay, I'll meet them, knowing that they're not the right person.
So I was told something interesting I don't necessarily know if I would consider them a reliable source.
Okay.
But I heard an interesting thing on how they cast the show.
Okay.
And I'm trying to decide if I should talk about it or if we should save it, because it changes everything. And it's one of those things where I don't necessarily want to spoil it for any true believers. So
Let's save it.
I think I'm going to save it.
Let's save it.
And then maybe towards the end of the season, I'll dish a little bit more. But
Well, give me your just general opinion about that without knowing this information.
I've always been skeptical on how all of a sudden Nev can come to the rescue and get this person. I think a lot of pre-production has to go into it. You have to be able to guarantee that the catfisher will come out.
Right.
I mean, how many submissions can they get? I'm sure they get hundreds, thousands.
Of course.
So I don't know what that process is, but a production team is not going to go to a location and start filming if the catfisher isn't going to come out. You can't have an episode if there's no resolution in the end, and the production team's not going to go there if they don't know for a fact that
they're going to do it.
Yeah,
I see.
So there's a reason these 20 episodes are part of season 4.
Sure.
It's not like there's just like all this footage of Nev going around and trying and failing. If they're going somewhere, they're going to find the catfisher.
They're going to find the catfisher.
So
interesting perspective.
When they're called and they're like, yeah, I'll meet tomorrow.
Right.
It's like, it's probably been months and months and months of that.
Sure.
But that's why it's just like, oh yeah,
sure,
he's cool with meeting tomorrow, because production called him 6 months ago and been like, all right, Thursday the 23rd, we're going to be there.
Interesting. And we know that this is a television show.
Right.
So there are certain things that
it
have
has
to
to
come
be
into
produced.
place. Right. It has to be done. It's a reality show, but we know how reality shows work.
Right.
You have to work it a certain way in order for it to be a show, because like you said, there wouldn't be a show if there was no resolution.
Right.
Now there's times, and then this is a perfect time, where the person who was the catfisher did not do the follow-up call, or you know what I'm saying, and wasn't responsive, but at the end of the day they still got the show that they wanted.
Right.
So here or there, but needless to say, he decides that he's going to meet up with her. He doesn't want to hurt her anymore. I'm okay with it. So here we go. So at this point they go, and the next day they text him.
Well, they meet up with Aisha.
Right. They meet up with Aisha.
And again,
the next day though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they meet up with Aisha.
And her sister.
Well, we learn that we meet Aisha.
Right.
And when we meet Journey, her daughter.
Right.
And we meet Aisha, and we learn that she has 4 kids.
And we found this out before the phone call, by the way.
And this is her friend,
right.
and she's one of the only friends that's stuck with her.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly enough, they met through Facebook, and she's one of why am I forgetting her name?
You talking about Tiana?
Tiana. She's
Yes.
she's like Tiana's only friend.
Yes.
And Aisha knows all about the whole James situation.
Correct.
So I thought it was interesting that they involved her. She felt like an unnecessary.
Interesting.
Looking, it's probably hindsight's 2020. So looking back, I feel like they usually involve a friend, but does the friend always go with them?
Not always. And I thought it was interesting that they did bring her. They said, "Hey, do you want to go with us?" And did bring her.
Like it
to
easily could have been her sister.
It could have been, yes, or it could have been just her by herself.
Right.
But if you notice, and I don't know if you watched this far, but after the show aired, they did a deleted scene.
I saw that.
Did you see that? And in the deleted scene, they were talking to Aisha, and they mentioned to her, and she's basically said, "Oh yeah, I have, my baby's daddy who doesn't leave me alone," and she said his name Trez.
Right.
And so if they knew that information, and then knowing that, not to spill the beans, but we're going to get there anyway, that Trez is the person that's doing the catfishing, it would make sense for them to bring her. Do you see what I'm saying?
100%.
Because obviously that happened before they left.
Right.
They just didn't show that to us until, it was a deleted scene. So that would make sense why, which again, this is a show. We know production. This is a show. They want to get, the drama. They want to get to what's going to happen. So
we need to, we could, I don't know. We could have known that Trez was an ancillary character in their lives that was important, but they decided to keep that from us to make it more dramatic.
Right.
But it was interesting seeing that deleted scene because that makes you think, okay, what other conversations happen without you? You know, it's so easy to, especially on shows like Survivor or Big Brother, it's so easy to think that what we're seeing is all we're seeing.
Yes.
But like there's hours and hours and days of footage that we don't see.
And I say that all the time. We do these recaps, especially in shows like this that are reality shows. And we tell people, it's like you see the drama unfold, but you don't know what happened in prior to that. You don't know how many hours. You don't know what was edited. A lot of times, and you talk to these cast members when they, come into the show, or we talk to them over the phone as guests, and they tell you, they're like, it didn't really happen that way. But editing is, that's just what happens.
Gotta tell a story, man.
Gotta tell a story. So they obviously go to his shop. He's a mechanic, we know that. So they drive over to the shop. So it's Tiana, it's her friend Aisha, it's the crew, Nev and Max. So they go there.
See this sketchy ass garage, half open.
And then Tiana ends up saying, or not Tiana, I'm sorry. It ends up being
Aisha.
Aisha says as they're driving, she's like, "This looks familiar," and then we know, okay, something's up. And then I think it's Nev, one of the two, Nev or Max, say, "Well, what's familiar about it?" And she's like, "This is my baby daddy's basically cousin works here, or his shop, Ricky D. So my baby daddy works for Ricky D. That's his shop. So I've been here before because I met him. This, that,
and he's a rapper. So then they're
Exactly.
thinking that could put two and two together with
connection and all of that. So of course they get there. Nev goes up to the half-open garage.
I don't know if I would walk in there. I don't.
Well, I mean, you think there's a lot of people there because we only see the characters, but there's the whole crew behind it.
I know,
So,
but
yeah, you walk up there and it looks sketchy, but at the same time, it's daytime and it's all these people. Like, what is really going to happen?
Right.
Like, realistically. So he walks up to the garage, knocks on the garage. Of course, the garage opens, and lo and behold, it's this man named Trez, who we find out almost immediately that it's Aisha's baby daddy. And then the floodgates, because you're like, wait a second.
Hold the fuck up.
Because we don't know. I mean, she says that she has a boyfriend, but she also says that she has children that are not by her boyfriend.
She said she had 4 kids.
Yes.
And I thought she said that they were all from the same father,
No,
but she didn't.
She said that her boyfriend does help take care of the children, but she didn't say that they were all by her boyfriend. So we know that there are baby daddies out there. But like I said, she mentioned Trez, but we never heard that yet.
Right.
So when he opens up the thing and she's like, "Trez, what?" So she starts flipping out. And she just can't believe it because, in her words, she says that Trez won't leave her alone.
Yeah.
Meaning that there's been instances where she has a man over or she has a boyfriend. Trez will come over because of the child that they share and then will be like, oh, I don't want you seeing them in person. She said there even one time he kicked somebody out the house.
Yeah.
All of these kind of things. So she automatically sees him and thinks it's against her.
Right.
Where it was interesting because she negated Tiana's feelings whatsoever. Now Tiana's the one that's being catfished.
Yeah, she's the one here. Yeah.
And Tiana even said at one point in time, as they were arguing, Tiana's like, yo, these are my feelings.
Yeah.
Like, slow down. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You did not even pay any attention
She
to me.
went off the rails.
She went off. She's
Understandably, but
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, Aisha doesn't even have time to. I keep mixing them up.
Yeah.
What's her name again?
So Aisha is the one
Tiana
right.
keeps. Tiana doesn't even have time to react because
No.
there's too much other shit blowing up in front of her face.
Exactly.
And Neve and Max are like, they look legitimately confused.
Well, they're just like trying to find out like what is going on.
Yeah.
And so obviously, like I said, it breaks down that Trez is in fact Aisha's baby daddy. And that's why there's the issue because of course Tiana and Aisha are friends, and he's been lying to her obviously for 3 years, and Trez knows that Aisha is her friend, which is, we find out after talking to him, that is the reason why he did that, because they meet at some party, and it wasn't like a big meeting because Tiana was kind of didn't even remember.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't remember. And he's like, oh, well, it was just kind of in passing, but for whatever reason, Tiana caught his eye and he liked her. And so he went to seek after her knowing she was Aisha's friend. So the whole point was, I'm going to get to know her. I'm going to get her to like me. And then at some point, one magical day.
Is there something romantic about that? Seriously.
Well,
like forbidden love and.
I mean, I think but there's a better way to do it. Yes, I understand like he liked her and he, went out to see her, but I honestly think he took advantage of a situation because realistically, she was hooked because of her situation.
Right.
If she wasn't, coming from the background she came in from, or whatever, I don't think she would have been easily, duped into that. Whereas like, oh, you're not seeing me or I can't get a hold of you. Well, then forget you.
And this whole time, Tiana has this weight over her shoulders that she feels like she lied about her kid.
Correct.
And she's like, he doesn't like kids, he hates kids, he can't find out that I have a kid.
Right.
Which I love when Neve and Max are like, then why do you want to be with someone if you don't have a kid? So, and then to find out he has 8 kids.
Not all biological, but he's taking care of 8 children. Yes.
So
yeah. Which is completely, and when that was brought up, of course he was like, yeah, I don't want any more kids. But the whole thing was, and I really, honestly, like after hearing them talk, I didn't think he was a terrible guy. Like I didn't think he was.
Because there are catfishes out there looking at people's make lives miserable.
Exactly. They're douchebags.
Right. He felt something, didn't want to betray the friendship, wanted to reach out, didn't think it was going to go this far. So it was out of a good place.
Sure. I just think he went about it, which a lot of people have done. They just went about it the wrong way.
Of course.
He could have been honest with her after, he knows her feelings involved. He could have been honest. He could have just talked to her together, just them two, without Aisha being present, kind of spilled the beans, but let her know that I really care for you, this, that, and the other. But I think because of the way he did it, it just hurt his chances.
It also, as crazy as he was going on, Tiana being like, you can't talk to anybody, but then hitting up her best friend.
Exactly.
That's messed up.
Right. No, exactly. And I think that's where, Tiana and Aisha got upset because, again, he was saying, Aisha, he still isn't over it. Because I don't really think he's over Aisha.
No.
Because when Neve asked, he's like, do you still love her?
He's like,
yes. Oh, I love her. Well,
but he said, I'm not in love
I'm not in love with her, but I got love with her. That's my baby mama, But I really think he's not over Aisha totally. So I agree with the fact why Aisha would be mad, because she can take that as like, that's a diss to me because you're trying to get next to me through my friend. Even though that may be not the case, but I could see why she would be upset.
And I can obviously see why Tiana might think that Aisha is involved. And I could see that immediate anger as to why are you doing this to me?
Right.
But it's kind of crazy to me that in their follow-up that they are no longer friends.
Correct.
That they decided that they just... Well, they both seem to obviously blame the other person. And we already know that from Tiana's intro interview that she can't keep friends. So I wish cameras were rolling when that conversation happened, because they're not talking, and I would love to know the truth about what happened.
Obviously it has a lot to do with the situation.
Well, all of it.
You know, and to be honest, like with with Aisha feeling that way, she just couldn't get over the situation. And who knows? Because ultimately, it sounds like she could also not be over Trez as well. You know what I'm saying? It could go both ways, even though, you know, because he's been there, she allows him around. You know, the kids, she tries to say like, oh, you can only talk to your son.
Yeah.
But it definitely can be the other way. So if your friend is infringing upon that, then that could be a reason why you would be upset.
Totally.
I want to go back quickly just when they got a chance to talk to themselves, you know, by themselves. And I thought it was very interesting that, you know, of course, Tiana was being very hard. You know, Nev and Max are talking to him. She's upset. She's like, that's a lie. Everything he was saying. But it was like once they left, and they got a chance to talk, you could see her kind of, you know, open up a little bit. And basically, and she laughs and like, you can always make me laugh. And you can see how that developed, because again, she was drawn to him because of what he was able to do for her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though it was strictly over the phone, he was able to make her laugh. He was able to, you know, take her from being mad all the time. You know, these things that she needed and that she was searching for in someone else.
Yeah.
So, and at that moment, I felt bad because I was like, you know, he seemed like a good dude, you know, but just misguided in his approach in trying to be with her.
Also, I mean, I'm sorry, like, yeah, he was cute about stuff and he made her laugh, but like, there are other dudes that can make you laugh, man. Like, in the lowest time of need, I get it. I'm glad that that she seems to have moved on in their follow-up. But like when I saw her like instantly giggle at his like not good joke, I was like, that it was like that happened way too quickly.
Right.
But again,
and we don't know editing.
In your time of need, low point, he makes you feel comfortable, you fall right back into it.
Right.
But
again, you know, it looked like they were going to give it a chance. And like I said, when we did the follow-up, she's not with him whatsoever. He declined to even comment or even have any follow-up with him. And then Aisha's, you know, they're not friends. So,
but Aisha did say that this is exactly what she needed in order to get over Trez. Right. So, or I guess... So she clearly did still have feelings, and it was like, this is clearly the door that needed to be closed, seeing how he acted this way. So it seems like she got some closure in something that she may not even have known that she needed.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think, you know, going back to Tiana, I think this was a good learning experience. I mean, again, she's young. She's 21 at this point. But I think it's a good learning experience for her as far as, you know, trusting people and not getting too caught up, because that there are people out there that can do that to you.
Yeah.
And it seems like she seemed like she was in a good place with the follow-up, you know, taking care of her daughter, you know, kind of doing her thing and just kind of seeing what was out there. So, you know, I hope that everything, you know, works out with her. Poor Trez, you know, he's got 8 kids and nobody. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I hope Tiana finds someone that can treat her right.
Yeah.
Hope she treats herself right. Trez, stop messing with other people. I hope Aisha and Tiana can make things work. If their true friendship's meant to be. If
they're true friends, it would work. But if not, then it's just going to be what it is, you know, and that's the end of the story. But there it is. Yeah, there it is. I'm excited for the season, man. The rest of the
looks
season.
dramatic.
It looks like there's going to be some good stuff. Saw the recap with everything, so I think we got a lot of good stuff in store.
I'm excited for the creepy stalker episode. The one that one girl said that she thinks that her catfisher has been at the same parties with her. Right. I'm very excited. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So anyway, that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you for tuning in. Again, I've been your host, Lim Gonsalves, and make sure that you follow me on Instagram and Twitter
You can hit me on that Snapchat too. I'm always on there as well. And I'm gonna look forward to you seeing the next Jeff Thurm. Tell them where they can find you.
Hit me up at Jeff_Thurm. And again, like I said before, tweet your comments. Use the hashtag ABTV Catfish. We'd love to know your guys' thoughts about each episode. Comment below, share it, post it. And tune in next week.
That's it. All right. Have a good night.
Later, guys. Don't get catfished.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.